Are you the type of person that can never make your mind up of what position you want your windshield in? Well, SuperATV has the perfect windshield for you with the Power Flip Windshield, and today we're gonna be showing you how to get it installed on a Can-Am Maverick R. What's up everybody? Welcome back to Grease the Wheels. I'm Braden Adams, this is my garage, and today we're gonna be showing you how to install SuperATV's Power Flip Windshield on this Can-Am Maverick R. Here's the tool list, let's get right to it. So the first thing you're gonna do is go ahead and remove all the contents of your packaging from SuperATV. Then you're gonna take your windshield, lay it on the machine to confirm that it fits. We've already done this. Once you've done this, go ahead and remove the protective film. You're gonna go ahead and grab your bulb seal, and you want the bulb portion of the seal to be facing towards the inside of the machine. So just for reference, the SuperATV logo on the windshield is gonna be facing towards the outside, so you want the bulb to face away from that. You're gonna start right up here in this top corner, run it all the way around. Once you get to this point here on the opposite side, you're just gonna cut off the excess. I'm also gonna glove up real quick. So then once you get to this point right here, you're just gonna take something to cut with and go ahead and cut it off. And we'll just take this portion of the windshield, slide it over to the side, and we're gonna grab the upper portion and install the bulb seal as well. Confirm the fitment of your windshield before you remove the protective film. We've already done that, so we're gonna go ahead and remove the protective film from our upper portion as well. You wanna do this for both sides. We're gonna take our bulb seal. We wanna make sure that the bulb portion of the seal is facing towards the side of the bracket. So we'll start right here at the top edge, run it all the way around, and then cut off our excess. Once we get to this point here, we're just gonna go ahead and cut off the excess once again. So just for a visual reference, this is how the lower portion is gonna couple to the upper portion. So now we're gonna grab our hinges and we're gonna install them to the lower portion of the windshield as well as the upper. We're gonna be using the tapered head hardware here. This is gonna be the short M6 tapered head Allens. There's gonna be 4 long Allens. Those are gonna go in these corners, but we're not gonna install them quite yet. So what we're gonna do is take our tapered Allens and our hinges, line it up just like so, pop it through the holes, and then on the back side, you're just gonna run the M6 nut. So as you can see here, we got all 4 screws in the middle, 2 out here on the lower. We're leaving the upper alone, no hardware yet. And we're just gonna do the same thing on this opposite side over here. Just put 2 of the short Allens in the bottom holes. Then we're just gonna go ahead and fully tighten the center hinge hardware. So then you're gonna grab your D-seal, you're gonna flip the upper portion over, and you're gonna see these 2 metal brackets here. You're just gonna apply some D-seal on one of the 2 of the metal brackets. That way, whenever the windshield's all the way closed, it's not making metal to metal contact. This is gonna act as a buffer in between those 2 brackets. And once we get to this point here, we're just gonna cut off the excess. So it should look just like so. Now you're gonna grab your actuators out of your packaging. Go ahead and grab the little white bushings and install them into the holes on the actuator. Just like so. Do that for all the holes on both actuators. So now what we're gonna do is go ahead and remove the upper dash from the machine. We're gonna start with the T30 Torx that are gonna be located on the outside edge directly under the A-pillar tube here. And then I'm just gonna work from one side to the other. So I'm gonna reach right here in the center, go ahead and remove this inspection panel. You just pick up on the latch and it slides right out. Then we're gonna have a 10mm bolt here, as well as a 10mm bolt on the opposite side. Then just pick this piece up as well. It just pops in. So once you remove the hardware, you can kind of wiggle your fingers up underneath there, pop it up, you're good to go with that. Then you're gonna have 2 more 10mm that get exposed by that. Make sure you're retaining all the washers. You wanna pop this side piece off. Then you're gonna have a 10mm bolt directly down here on the side of the dash. Then 1 more T30 right here on the corner. Then you can grab this side of the dash and just remove it. We'll set that aside. And then we're gonna work to the opposite side, doing the exact same thing. So now what we're gonna do, after we have the upper dash removed, we're gonna go on the inside of the machine, and there's gonna be 3 rocker switches that are in the center of the dash. We're gonna grab a hold of that center piece there and just pop it out. So once that piece is removed, grab your wiring harness out of the kit. I'm gonna start with the side that the rocker switch is gonna go onto, and I'm just gonna feed it through the dash. So I just fed it to myself there. Then I'm gonna grab my rocker switch panel, and then just go ahead and remove one of the knockouts. And we'll take this piece, slide it through the knockout, and just go ahead and reinstall it to the dash. Now we have our lead hanging out that we can hook our rocker switch to. Before we do that, we're gonna slide back up front underneath the dash, and we're gonna have 3 different leads here. We're gonna have the hot and ground lead, which we're gonna have to hook up to a hot, a keyed on source, and a ground. And we're gonna have our 2 connections for our actuators. So one side is just gonna stay over here. Just gonna kind of lay that back out of the way so I know I don't need to route it. And then the other side is going to be wired and ran all the way across to the opposite side of the machine. So we're just gonna start routing this. So it's just gonna sit right over here in this position. I'm just gonna leave it lay just like this for now. Then we're gonna come right here. This is gonna be a keyed on source terminal. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the nut. Then you're just gonna take and hook your keyed on source wire directly up to it. So that'll be the red wire on the harness. And we do send these harnesses with quite a bit of extra wiring with them. So we're just gonna go ahead and hook the ground up. We have our hot tight, our keyed on source tight, and our ground. So again, you have quite a bit of excess wiring. What I'm gonna do is just take a zip tie this together, slide it right here on the frame of the machine, on one of these dash bars, just down and out of the way. Or if you wanted to, you could just cut it off, wire it together, and shorten the harness. Totally up to you. Now you're just gonna grab your rocker switch and then just plug it right in to the harness. Now we're gonna go ahead and reinstall our dash. So now we're gonna grab our actuator bracket. So there is a left and a right. You just wanna make sure whenever you install it that it looks like so, that it has the angled bracket with the 2 holes in it up top, and then the spot where the actuator is gonna go down low. So you're gonna notice that you're gonna have some long M10 Allens in the kit. These are gonna go through the frame of the machine, and they're gonna line up on the actuator bracket itself. You're gonna have some M10 hardware, some nuts, Let's go ahead and get that started. And then I'm not gonna fully tighten this hardware up quite yet, but I am just gonna go ahead and snug it. Far from tight, but it's gonna help hold everything in place whenever we start to go to install our windshield. We're just gonna repeat the same exact steps on the opposite side. Now we're gonna grab our actuators, make sure that you have your bushings installed, that you're gonna grab the shoulder bolt with the small nuts. So just line it up like so, get the hardware through, put the nut on the back side. We're not gonna fully tighten this yet. We're just gonna leave these hang for the time being. What I am gonna do though is go ahead and undo my wiring and go ahead and plug that in. So that'll plug in just like that. We'll just let that hang until we get our windshield installed. We're gonna do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So now you're gonna lay your windshield onto your machine. I had somebody help me. I advise you to. You can install it by yourself. It definitely makes it a little bit easier if somebody helps you though. And if you remember previously in the install, we said to leave the hardware out of the hinge on the upper portion of the windshield. The reason being is because now the hinge and the windshield line up with the actuator bracket tab. So we're gonna grab our long recessed Allen, slide it through the bracket, and once the hardware's through, we're just gonna go on the back side and start one of our M6 nuts. We'll go ahead and snug the hardware up and then repeat the same steps on the opposite side. Now we're gonna go ahead and grab the strap, open it up, slide it through the windshield, and then around the tube of the cage. As you can see, we do not have a roof installed on our machine. If you did have a roof installed, you just have to remove the 2 screws in the front, lift the roof up out of the way. The factory roofs are really easy to get up off of these machines. So now we're gonna attach the actuator to the bracket on the windshield. One thing you need to be sure of is that you thread the actuator shaft all the way in. These will sometimes come loose. If they do, you just wanna snug them up all the way. That's one of the most common phone calls that we get with the Power Flip actuators is people think that they go in and they raise them all the way up and they're off. Well, really what it is they're just not threading the actuator shaft all the way in. Another thing, if the actuator isn't long enough to reach, as soon as you go to install it, don't try to unthread it. All you need to do is turn your key on. And then just actuate out just a little bit until they start to line up. Once they line up, just take your hardware. You're gonna use the same shoulder bolted Allen and install it. Once you get it through, just go ahead and start the nut on the back side, then repeat the same steps on the opposite side. So now what I like to do is get all of the tension off of the actuator brackets and then just go ahead and fully tighten the actuator bracket down. That's gonna be the 5mm Allen coming from the outside in with a 13mm nut on the inside. Now we're gonna tighten down our shoulder bolts that are going through the actuator. This is gonna be a 3mm Allen and an 8mm wrench. Now we're gonna go ahead and test the functionality of the windshield out. So once you've went through and fully tightened all the hardware, made any adjustments that you may have needed to make, that is all there is to it to install SuperATV's Power Flip Windshield on this Can-Am Maverick R. Be sure to check the description below to pick yours up today, and while you're there, drop a like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.